you turn there, let me tell you, the children of Israel, they have just left 400 years of captivity. They have been bound under Pharaoh's leadership in Egypt, and now they are coming out of that captivity, and not too shortly into their journey, they run across a major difficulty. It was called the Red Sea. The Red Sea was in front of them, intimidating, big, beyond their capacity to figure out how they're going to get around it or get through it. And Pharaoh's army is coming up behind them, and around the east and the west side of them, there is no way they feel like, from their perspective, that they can escape. And many of you are in circumstances like that today. You just feel like there is absolutely nothing you can do to get past this Red Sea circumstance that stands before you. Let's see what it is that Moses, their leader, tells them. Verse 13 and 14. Moses said to the people, "Do not fear. Stand by and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see them again forever." Verse 14. "The Lord will fight for you while you keep silent." Four things I want to tell you from this passage today. Moses says to the children of Israel, be fearless, be still, be watchful, and be quiet. The first thing Moses says to them is, in the face of this difficulty, this wide body of water that we have absolutely no idea how we can handle a problem this big, we cannot see with our human eyes how we're going to be able to get over this thing. He says, this is what I want you to do. He says, I want you to be fearless. I want you to not allow fear to circumvent you seeing God move in this circumstance. Now, the reason why he needed to tell the children of Israel to be fearless was obvious. Because in a circumstance like that one, it made sense that they would be afraid. I mean, who wouldn't be afraid? Your enemies, your captors over the past 400 years, they are coming behind you, and there's an enormous body of water in front of you. It only makes sense that you would be afraid in a circumstance like that. It would be your human tendency to be afraid. And sister, listen, in the circumstance that you may be facing, it makes sense that you would be afraid. It only stands to reason that in our normal human tendencies, we would be afraid with our marriage hanging on by a thread like that. We would be afraid in that financial ditch that we've dug ourselves in. We would be afraid with that report that the doctor just gave us. We would be afraid, single woman, because it looks like there are no more single men left on the planet. We might be afraid. And yet Moses says to these people who have every right, it seems, humanly speaking, to be afraid in the face of this circumstance, he says to them, do not be afraid. In other words, don't allow yourself to succumb to your normal human tendency. Don't allow yourself to go there. Look at the woman next to you and say, don't go there. Don't even let yourself go there. Of course, it makes sense that you'd hang out there. But as a woman indwelt by the very Spirit of God, you and I have to make a decision to not allow ourselves to sit in the fear that so easily can overtake us on occasion.